Alright guys, Delzinski here, and yesterday I got to go to a UK press event thanks to the guys at 2K for WWE 2K16. Now not only did I get to play the game, which I will cover in a separate video, I also got to sit down for an interview with Bryce Yang, who's the director of brand marketing at 2K Games. So I asked him a few questions that I wanted to know in regards to WWE 2K16. Unfortunately, the audio does have quite a bit of background noise, but I did try and tidy it up as best as I could. But hopefully you guys will get some answers to some questions that you also want to know. So yes, this is my interview with Bryce Yang from 2K on WWE 2K16. It's Delzinski here, and I am with Bryce from 2K. Thanks for having the interview with me. We're going to be talking about WWE 2K16. So WWE 2K15 to me felt like the foundation of like the new generation of WWE games, and 2K16 is kind of, how's that progressed it even more so? Visually I think 2K15 was really good looking, yeah. But I think what's taken it to the next level?
Foundation's a good word, to use that, the word that I use all the time. Because it was the first time on the new systems, right? So it's always a challenge because the teams aren't as familiar with hardware, right? So that's why when you go through a hardware cycle, like more and more, like you were able to do more with those systems, right? So it's the same thing for this generation. So last year, first time on new systems, it looked great. A lot of the modes that we had on the franchise weren't in last year. They've been brought back. Creation, yeah. All the creative modes. The roster has been completely gone out of control this year. Twice as many as last year, in a good way. And you have a lot of old favorites and people you really wouldn't expect that are on the roster, which is always fun. And then career mode, of course, last year, great foundation. And this year, adding the sports entertainment to the wrestling.
You mentioned the roster. Yeah. What are your favorite picks, like new additions to the 2K16 roster?
I'd say Kevin Owens is a great one. A lot of the NXT guys. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the first timers this year. Finn Balor, Kevin Owens.
His entrance is awesome, Finn Balor's.
So he did it himself. Yeah, he came in and mocapped it himself. Because you can't really think that. Like it reminded me years ago we had R-Truth, MVP, and Crime Time come in and do their own because they're.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Because if there's a hard entrances and movements to capture without those guys. So guys like Finn Balor, Neville came in and did the Red Arrow and a bunch of other moves. Kevin Owens came in this time also. So those are the two that stand out to me. Yeah.
Was it? You mentioned the capture process. Mm-hmm. Was it difficult getting hold of anyone this year to sort out? Because I remember, I think last year when I think you came over, you mentioned Shawn Michaels having to go out to his ranch and do the capturing. Was there anyone this year that sort of was a tricky one to nail down?
We got Taker. This year. Undertaker is always, the guys that aren't around a lot. But the thing that we found is when we set up at WrestleMania weekend, it's always a lot easier because then you can get them to come by. Okay.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah. So if you're set up there, then and even the announcers like JR did one this year for his likeness as an announcer. Taker. We basically had to re-get as many of the people as possible too. Yeah. Because that process, the tech has improved it in 1 year already. So.
Really.
Yeah. So you had to get some of the guys again. And if you watch me playing the game, during that process, they're asked to make a bunch of faces, because then throughout the course of the match, they have different expressions. So those faces that they make kind of blend together, so they actually have like expressions like real people.
Yeah. Good. And with this year as well, it's heavily featured Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yep.
Was that always going to be the plan for 2K16 to be Austin, or was there a few names on the table?
There's always names. There's always options, right? But Steve Austin's kind of like, it's like Michael Jordan for NBA.
Yeah.
Like Steve Austin, you could say that two people took WWE public: Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. he is the most popular star that there was in WWE. Fans, the current fans love him, and a lot of these fans that like him were definitely not old enough or born yet, right? To have liked him. They love Steve Austin through the magic of the network or his podcasts. He keeps himself, very relevant still. So for us, it was, we've done storylines in the showcases, looking at rivalries, at WrestleManias, at different eras, the Attitude Era. But this year we decided to tell the story of Stone Cold's career.
It feels like that's probably the most detailed showcase I think we've ever had, I'd say, because just by the looks of going and getting Joey Styles involved for the commentary, which I think is awesome, by the way. We've got JR in there as well, and the footage we've seen, obviously, from the trailer, I think, The Rock being stunned with the camera in his hand.
Yeah.
How much footage did you guys have to go through to, like...
There's a lot. I mean, in the showcase mode, all the objectives are all based around the matches. So, the matches have people to go in and find the key moments that would... Not only the key moments, but the moments that would make for fun gameplay.
Yeah.
To build out the showcase mode. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of research that goes into making the mode. I mean, there's a lot of business things that we have to, take care of to get a lot of, those guys in the game too on the WWE. So we work with WWE and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to.
I can imagine. My career is it more decision based this year? From looking at the backstage segments with Renee Young interviewing, you have the option to go one way or the other, and the breakout sequence. So is that how it's evolved in terms of having a lot more decisions to make? Yeah,
there's a lot more choice in it, right? It's choice, and you can make different decisions. You can choose how you want your character to be, how you want them to be perceived. You want to have rivalries with certain people.
Yeah.
Or it's definitely more of choose your own adventure.
Cool. And what's your sort of favourite bit that's the addition in my career this year?
I mean, the interviews are fun because it's such a big part of WWE programming, and you haven't really had that in a game in this series ever, right? I think it might be the first time ever. But
it feels like a throwback to some of the SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it's that stuff's always fun, and all the storyline things. Like going to the Hall of Fame is pretty cool because it's actually something people have to try to accomplish because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It takes a huge investment to do it, so that's always cool. That mode should be significantly better this year.
Cool. No, it looks it from even just from the trailer sequences that we've seen, it looks really, really good. I've got a question for you. It's a bit random.
Sure.
Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Terminator. Who wins?
Well, we actually asked both of those guys, and we kind of cut the promos on each other. So their answers were: Steve Austin said that he would kick him in the gut and then drop him on that stack of diamonds he called the neck of the Stone Cold Stunner. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, said something. He definitely dropped Hasta La Vista and the word Terminate into his sequence. But I don't know. I mean, this is Terminator. But it's a tough call. I don't know. I'm
not sure if the stun will pay off, will it? I'm not sure if it'll...
maybe they sun him into some molten lava or something.
And I think my final question for you is, well, it's not really a question actually. I just was going to say to you, can I get an oh hell yeah for WWE 2K16?
Oh hell yeah.
So there you have it, guys. I tried to get in as many questions as I could, and I wanted to get a variety in. So we did talk about the development from 2K15 to 2K16. We also talked about Stone Cold Steve Austin being the showcase for this year's game, and as well, we covered my career mode. Yes, it was a good day. I had a very good time, and it was great to actually meet Bryce as well. So I hope you enjoyed the interview, and all that's left to be said is please rate, comment, and subscribe. Not long to go now. This is Delzinski signing out.